here in Boulder. Brian, it's been a little while since we've done one of these analysis videos. Recruiting starting to heat up a little bit, even though it's a dead period. Colorado with 2 defensive back commitments in the last 48 hours. And as we were getting ready to do this video, just got the second one. So you're starting to see that 2026 group come together. And they had a lot of young men roll through here as official visitors, about 35 between April, May, in June. So a lot of young men that are going to be making decisions here pretty soon as well. And some other ones that are already committed elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's to be expected. And but yeah, this is that time of year, and there's a lot of commitments that are being dropped all over the country right now. So this is that season. But yeah, the Buffs have a couple of corners, and it's a position of need, really. I mean, you look ahead to 2026, they're going to lose Preston Hodge. They're going to DJ McKinney could come back in 26, but if he has the year we think he could have, he could be an NFL guy next year. So, I mean, they might be in need of some corners. And so, I mean, Preston Ashley's a 4-star kid that, chose CU over Florida and Florida State, right? And so, this is a guy that has a lot of big-time offers. And, anytime you get a 4 or 5-star kid in the summer, that's awesome.
Yeah, Preston Ashley is a top 10 player in Mississippi, and it looked like he was going to take his time and was expected to take a visit to Florida State when they host Alabama early this season, but came out to Boulder, just fell in love, and he's listed as a safety right now on 24/7 Sports. I think that's going to get updated because he's projected as a corner, but probably even more likely to end up at nickelback because you watch his high school tape and he's moving around and he's impacting the game in a lot of different ways, getting his hands on balls all over the field and looked really good in run support. So I'm sure you can't bank Hodge leaving on just a true freshman coming in next year, but I could see him being part of that mix, at least part of the discussion early at nickelback.
Yeah, and a kid that it's hard in this day and age to project somebody being here 4 or 5 years because you never know. But I mean, that's a kid that maybe he develops into that at some point. But yeah, I mean, you like his tape. I mean, he looks impressive, and so we'll see. I mean, I think it's a good get for the Buffs, and it was only their 3rd commit of the class, I believe. Now they got 4, so that class is starting to come together a little bit.
The 4th, Maurice Williams from Edna Carr High School, one of the top programs in Louisiana. And he was committed to Liberty for a long time. He did have a handful of other Power 4 offers early in the process. Similar deal, comes out to Colorado recently, falls in love, and you're starting to kind of see a little bit of that momentum. And I think these commitments are going to kind of snowball things, I think, a little bit for them recruiting-wise.
Yeah, and admittedly, this is the one that happened right before we did this, so I haven't really watched his film at all, but it's a corner, and like I said, it's a corner that you need, and you start filling up that position in certain positions that you need, and I mean, a talented kid that's got some offers, and man, there's sort of a Liberty to CU pipeline. There's been a few of those that transfer from Liberty or whatever, but there's sort of that Liberty CU connection in a way.
Yeah, and they had a couple other commitments already, like you had mentioned there. Gavin Mueller, a tight end from Illinois, kind of an intriguing prospect to take. He's an athletic freak, but he only has 1 year of football under his belt, so he's going to be a guy that we'll see how quickly he can kind of pick things up when he gets out here next year. And then Damata Pecco Jr., defensive line coach's son, an edge prospect at the JUCO ranks, going to be at Ventura College this year, is expected to be coming in January, so he won't be with the team this year. I'm anxious to see what's next. There's a lot of recruits that are going to be announcing here in early July.
Well, and I think one of the exciting things about Pecco is you're starting to see I think a lot of fans were excited about this when they hired Domata Pecco is, can he get that Polynesian pipeline going again? And maybe that's the start of that is, there was a recent, who was the kid that was just here that talked about he felt sort of at home because there was some of the Polynesian guys that were here as well. And so if you can get that going again, that was such a key for the Buffs years ago. Brian Cabral had that rolling. He'd go out to Hawaii and almost get whoever he wanted, but they had that Polynesian pipeline for a while. If they can get that going again, that'd be huge.
I mean, that's what Utah's program has been built on, and why they've sustained success for so long. And so, I think that Pecco has made a big impact, and actually Gunnar White the O-line commits haven't come yet, but there are quite a few guys that are going to be announcing pretty soon. Yeah. I've seen them a little bit more active in the prep recruiting ranks under Gunnar White than really they were under Lodeholt or that first year with O'Boyle.
Yeah, and they need that. I mean, they've got to start developing some of those younger guys. And, obviously Jordan Seaton came in here last year, made an impact. So did Cash Cleveland, who was a walk-on. But I like the freshmen that are in here this year. And so you start developing those guys. And they've got enough veterans now that I think those freshmen may not have to see the field this year. I wouldn't expect to see the true freshmen this year to see the field, but you like what they've got, and those offensive linemen need time to develop. And so I think that high school recruiting at offensive line is huge, and that's where Gunnar White can maybe make an impact there.
Yeah, one of the big keys with this football team is the depth you've cultivated at a number of spots, particularly that offensive line. Yeah, I think a Carday Smith or a Chauncey Gooden is probably going to have to play back in 2022 here, right? I mean, I think that's where you've seen kind of the foundation of this program establish itself a little bit. You see that on the defensive line. You see it a little bit in the secondary. I still think you could probably have used, a Colton Hood on this roster right now. And there's a couple other positions that maybe running back, you wish there was a little bit more there. But
linebacker would be another one.
Linebacker. But in the trenches, we have seen that really get built up here.
Yeah, I think the depth in the trenches is as good as we've seen. I don't know since when, but in a while. I mean, I think the offensive line, when I get asked about that, I don't know how good they'll be. I thought they took strides last year. I think they're going to be even better this year, just based on what I see on paper. But you have to like the depth. There's so many veterans on this team, so many guys that have started, and they started at big schools, So I actually like the depth. I think the competition at O-line is probably going to be pretty insane in the fall. I don't know who to project is going to be on that starting offensive line right now, but I think that competition is going to be pretty insane.
I think the one thing you can say confidently with the O-line is that, once again, just like a year ago, the floor has at least been risen for that group, right? Yeah. Are there going to be all-conference candidates outside of Jordan Seaton on the O-line? Kind of yet to be proven, right? But there are a lot of guys you could name off that could maybe put it all together and be part of that.
Well, and I mean, guys like Zy Chrysler and Xavier Hill were all conference guys at their previous school. Zy Chrysler was honorable mention in the Big Ten at Illinois, and I think Xavier Hill was first team at Memphis. I think it was first or second team, and so they're all conference caliber players. And I agree with you. The floor has risen. To me, that's one of those reasons when I look at this football team, I'm not really sure how good they're going to be. But when I look at the offensive line, I'm like, that's a reason for optimism, is that if that position group is better, that's going to make the offense better, and it's going to make up for losing a Shedeur and a Travis and LaJonte and guys like that, because you still got a ton of talent at receiver. I think that's going to make the quarterbacks look better. And if you have a Caden Salter, for example, running behind a better offensive line, or a Dallin Hayden, all of a sudden that offense is better. So I think that group gives you a little optimism for this upcoming season.
Switching over to revenue sharing. Yeah. I think people are still going to refer to it as the NIL era, and I guess it is because NIL is still part of it, but that has changed now. Yeah. They're going to be more strict in terms of what deals are being allowed, but less strict, obviously, with these guys being able to get some of the revenue from the athletic department. I'm still a little hesitant to think that this is going to work long term because it's just going to probably keep getting tied up in the courts with different issues, but it's the most stable we've seen since NIL started, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, as much as stability as you can have in something that just came down a month ago. But yeah, you're right. It's probably going to be stuff in the courts for a long time. I mean, people have been just preying on the NCAA the last few years because they're weak. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I like the model in general. I'm just curious to see how it's going to play out as far as who gets what and things like that. That's going to be one of the biggest issues is, when football and men's basketball gets the bulk of the money, is that a Title IX issue? And that's where, and they should get the bulk of the money because that's where the revenue is coming from. And so, but is it a Title IX issue? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's interesting when you and I have covered this program so long. There's nicer cars in the parking garage than there was, a few years ago. I'm wondering if there's going to be even nicer cars in the parking garage in the future. But yeah, I'm glad those kids are getting some of that money they deserve because they've earned it. I mean, when there's that much money being made, I mean, they should earn a piece of the pie. And so I'm glad for that. It's just coming up with the right model. It seems to be the issue, and nobody's really come up with that yet. Maybe this is it.
I'd like to see like a CU football car show. I think that would be a fun event to cover, maybe even for the fans.
You might have an idea for an NIL event, a fundraising, a fundraising opportunity. Do the annual CU Buffs car show.
Well, they kind of did something like that with the truck ranch, right? But that wasn't their own cars that they were bringing out.
Truck ranch giving cars to the Sanders family, and so which was pretty cool. That was a fun event. But yeah, all these guys, you look at the cars now, you could do a car show.
Yeah, what else should we talk about? We got Big 12 Media Days coming up.
There's also there's new turf on the field, and we've seen some pictures of it. I don't know about you, but I think it looks nice. I know fans will never get used. There's some fans that will never get used to seeing the artificial turf and not the natural grass. And obviously, CU in the heyday, they were playing on artificial, that old AstroTurf, which was not good. But people have been used to grass now for, what was it, 25, 26 years? Mm-hmm. It was 98 they switched to natural grass, and so they've been used to it. And I like the natural grass, but you understand why they're doing it. They need to make some revenue, and they can host a lot more concerts. But I think it looks nice. They also redid the Colorado back in the south end zone. Yeah, south end zone. They redid that, and so it looks nice.
It definitely stands out more in pictures, and I'd imagine that's going to translate really well to TV. I think we talked about this when they made the announcement that, yes, ideally you'd like to have a grass field, but this is Colorado, basically high desert. Right. It doesn't look very good in November. I think anybody that still has an issue with it, just wait till November, take a look and see what it looks like on TV. Right. Now compared to like last November, and I don't think there's going to be anybody that disagrees with this decision once that happens.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was looking at their schedule. There's now only one game this year they're going to play on natural grass. Do you know where that is?
I'd have to run through the schedule in my head. Where's that?
TCU. That'll be the only place. Every other, there's only 5 road games. All the others are on artificial turf, and a lot of fans when this announcement first came out brought up the injury factor, and here come all the injuries. But let's be honest, they practice on that stuff every single day. And so, at the indoor facility here, they've been practicing on the artificial turf every single day. Coach Prime put an artificial surface at his own home so his sons could practice. And so these guys are used to it. I think that, I don't know if the injuries will rack up or not, but they really haven't with them practicing on it all the time. And so let's hope not. But that's the one fear you have, is that the injuries can create more injuries, but let's hope not.
Have they done specific research with just the latest turf technology? Because I think the injuries have gone down steadily since AstroTurf was, introduced.
Yeah, I remember doing the story a month or 2 months ago, whatever, when they were first doing this, and I can't remember when the latest study was, but the numbers are down. It's definitely more injuries on the artificial than on the grass, but it's way better than the old AstroTurf. That stuff that CU used to have in here when they won the national title, that was literally like playing on this with like a green carpet on top of it, and so actually it was. I don't even know it was green. That was an ugly green, whatever it was. Remember that? It was like, it was not, didn't look good. But it's not, they've obviously come a long way since that old AstroTurf. And this stuff, apparently they put down a nice cushion it's a Boulder-based company actually that has the cushion underneath there. So apparently they've got a nice cushion in there, and so we'll see. We'll see what the players think of it.
Nice. And Big 12 Media Days coming up down in the Dallas area at the Cowboys facilities. I'm looking forward to the event. I'm not looking forward to the weather down there because it's going to be pretty hot.
Yes, and I was telling you, we had lunch right before this, and I was telling you I went down to Big 12 Media Day 2 years ago before they actually got in the Big 12, and it was at Cowboy Stadium. And just getting out to my car at the end of each day, that was the hottest car I've ever gotten back into in my life. It was around 100 degrees and a little bit of humidity, and it was brutal. And so I'm hoping it's not that hot, but I'm expecting that.
One thing I like that they've done with Big 12 Media Days that we didn't really get in the Pac-12 is that there's more players that come out with each team. I think most teams had 4 players that came out last year.
See, you're supposed to have 4, I had 3.
Yeah, Travis wasn't feeling it that day. Yeah. I think he made up.
Never feeling it. Let's be honest with you, but he was definitely not going to go that day. But
he win a Heisman Trophy, take media day off. I think that's not a bad deal. Yeah. But there's a little bit more ability to kind of get in front of more guys at these events. Yeah. It's still everybody is optimistic this time of year, and so you have to kind of filter through a lot of these quotes that you get at media day through a certain lens, but it's kind of signals the start of the preseason, at least as a media member.
Yeah, and I mean, you were there last year, so you can compare it to Pac-12. It feels more like a football kickoff than Pac-12 Media Day. And I remember the last Pac-12 Media Day 2 years ago, well, the last one C was involved in, and it was crammed into one day, and it was in that little nightclub. Remember that? And it was just, there's two players, and it's like, all right, do the stage, come over here, do your quick thing with the writers, and you're done. And Big 12 does it so much better, and it just feels like more of a kickoff to football. It feels like a bigger deal, and they've got the mascots, some of which are
harassing
scary.
the reporters,
right? Some of which are scary. They got mascots, they got cheerleaders, they got the old trapper beef jerky guy down there. So they've got a lot of things down there that kind of make it feel like a big time event. And yeah, I mean, some teams had 4 or 5 players, and so I'm curious who CU will bring. What do you think?
I think there's some pretty obvious candidates. Jordan Seaton, Arden Walker would be a couple that would come to mind.
DJ McKinney, I would think. I mean, when you haven't named a starting quarterback, do you think a quarterback goes down there?
You probably want to bring both if you're going to bring one, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you bring one, it almost says you're naming a starter, so that'd be kind of tough. So, but I don't know who else they would bring. I mean, because their receivers are so young, and so who knows? But I think you're probably spot on with a Jordan Seaton and Arden Walker. Those seems like two of the spokespeople of this team, and maybe Mata. I mean, last year they brought Mark Vassett. So
I mean, no program in the country does a better job of highlighting the specialists than the Coach Prime Buffs, and so I think that's a pretty good bet there.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. DJ McKinney, I think, is probably one that they want to highlight though, because he seems like in the 2026 draft. He seems to me like the most likely to be a high draft pick
right now.
Yeah, right now. So he might be the one guy they want to highlight. So I would see him down there as well.
Don't know if Coach Prime is going to be there. A couple years ago, he had to go in for surgery, and Charles Kelly actually did a pretty good job filling in for him. I know it would be a bummer, though, for the media folks that aren't around Coach Prime here in Boulder. But, I mean, if it's a health issue, so if he's not feeling up to it, he's not feeling up to it. And probably Robert Livingston would probably be the prime candidate to replace him if needed.
Unless Pat Shurmur. I mean, Pat Shurmur's got a lot of experience, obviously as a former head coach, that he could step into that role. The one thing I'll say with Coach Prime is it looks like he's getting better. I mean, we're seeing him in well-off videos. He's fishing with Travis Hunter the other day. And media day here is an hour and a half or so from his house. And so that's an easy one to get to, whereas 2 years ago, trying to get to Vegas was a little bit different after surgery. And so we'll see. That seems like one that if he's feeling up to it, he could just pop over, for a little bit, do his media obligations, and then go. But we'll see. I'm hoping we see him because that means he's doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope Coach Prime is doing well. Colorado's recruiting efforts are getting better, and so we'll continue to monitor that this summer, and we'll be back definitely when we're out in Dallas with more analysis.